Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Justina. Welcome to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here am I outdoors today recording from my garden. It's a lovely day. I'm feeling great. I hope you're doing well as well. Lovely energies with birds singing, nature as well. I really appreciate nature these days. Before, when I was younger, it was all about, the city life. But now, as I'm getting older, I really love the birds and the nature and the greenery. At the moment, we also have a heat wave, so it's all really looking great. I'm really pleased to connect and reconnect with you all, because it feels like I haven't recorded a video for quite some time. I was away in the last few weeks doing some traveling, and I got really inspired as well with lots of art, creativity. And right, so here I'm going to talk about today about Saturn retrograde in Pisces. It's a pretty hot topic at the moment. It's Saturn's very first retrograde in this brand new sign. Saturn entered Pisces on the 7th of March. And here it will station retrograde in Pisces at 7 degrees on the 17th, 18th of June, depending on where in the world you are. This retrograde will end on November the 3rd, 4th, here again, depending on where in the world you live, at 0 degrees of Pisces. So here Saturn will not go further than the 7th degree in 2023. So we look at our natal placements. This could be points as well, angles between 0 and 7 degrees in one of the mutable signs. So this is Pisces, Virgo, Gemini or Sagittarius, because these placements will be especially triggered, influenced, highlighted by this retrograde. So it looks like these placements, between 0 and 7 degrees will be triggered 3 times, because they have already been triggered in the direct motion, but Saturn will retrograde and then cross them again. So there are some valuable lessons for us to learn here, especially for those of you who have important placements between 0 and 7 degrees of Pisces in 2023. Next year, these we will look at the further degrees. Now, if you are Pisces, born in February, then here this is also important transit for you. If you are a Gemini born in May, a Sagittarius born in November, or a Virgo born in August, then here again this retrograde will play a very important role in your life and overall the transit of Pisces in the year 2023. So here so basically what it is, Saturn is all about structure, discipline, order. Pisces is connected to the lack of boundaries, creative energy and dreamy energy as well. So when Saturn entered Pisces, for some people this could have created some fear initially. And these are brand new energies, but overall Saturn in Pisces, this is about creating boundaries, structure to something that doesn't have structure or form. This is about that increased maturity, responsibility as well. So here with Saturn stationing retrograde, this is about taking a deeper look at what you have created, achieved in the last few months in the area of life activated by this transit. So this is about that re-examination, a review, a reassessment of the foundations. We look at the foundations. So this is about updating, about working on what we have created, but perhaps on a deeper level, not just on the surface. This is about bringing form and shape and more structure and a more solid foundation to what you have already created in the last 3 months. Alright, so let's see what this retrograde will bring for you on a deeper level. I will look at each rising sign, and I follow tropical astrology, tropical zodiac, Western astrology, and the timestamps are in the comment section and also in the description box down below this video. So thank you very much, and let's begin. Hello Aries, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces that will take place in your 12th house. So this is a very new retrograde in this brand new sign. The 12th house deals with endings, conclusions. There is often a very strong need for a withdrawal, solitude even. Now this could be a pretty introspective time for you, a time when you have to be honest with yourself, true to yourself as well. So here, during this retrograde, you might question the importance of everything that you do. This retrograde is fantastic for working on things that you already initiated, created in the last few months. So if you decided to quit smoking, drinking, quit some toxic relationships, this retrograde will help you to bring more form and shape into whatever that you created, initiated over the last few months. If you're struggling with quitting smoking, or perhaps it could be about weight loss, anything that basically lowers your self-worth, self-esteem, anything that doesn't have a form, or if there is chaos in your life, Saturn can bring structure. If you're struggling with self-discipline, this retrograde is great for making concrete and solid plans. So here you are working on what you have already created, achieved, initiated during Saturn's transit in Pisces since March the 7th. Now the 12th house is very much connected to you ending this major phase in your life. Now if you've been, for example, struggling with some addictions in the last few years even, and you recently decided you want to do something about that, perhaps this could be also about your mental health. Saturn retrograde in this house is great for re-examining your behavioral patterns, for reassessing your attitude towards the important commitments in your life, for example. And then when Saturn stations direct on November the 3rd, the 4th, you will be able to move forward, with your life, with your goals, with more confidence, with more strength as well. So take this retrograde for generally taking a deeper look at anything that is toxic in your life, at anything that perhaps blocks that ability to move forward as well. Now, if you recently became interested in astrology, spirituality, for example, and you want to dive deeper, then review, reassess, re-examine what you have already learned in the last few months. And then when Saturn stations direct, you can move forward and learn new things. Now, if you recently became aware of some phobias, obsessive behavioral patterns, or some fears, then this retrograde will be also fantastic for finding new ways that could help you to deal or overcome these fears or obsessive behavioral patterns that you might be struggling with. All right, so here we go, Aries. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces in your 11th house. So here, the 11th house deals with friendships, long-term goals, plans as well. Now here also, the 11th house also deals with promotions and profits that we make through our career, our business as well. Now here, Saturn retrograde first of all, with Saturn retrograde, this is about bringing more form, shape and structure into any dreams and goals you may have, because now Jupiter is in your first house for 1 year, for 12 months. So this is an uninterrupted stay of Jupiter. So there is a lot of potential for expansion, for reaching some of your goals and dreams you may have had for years. However, of course, with Jupiter we have to be grounded and realistic as well, because sometimes Jupiter can also bring lots of surprises that could be of an overly expansive nature. Now here with the so when Saturn is retrograde in your 11th house, this will prompt you to re-examine dreams, your hopes. And this would be a great time for taking a deeper look at what is it that you want from your life. Because I think with Jupiter in your first house, you started this new phase, new chapter, new cycle in your life. So lots of opportunities, potentials might be on the horizon, in the upcoming months. But you have to be realistic, and with Jupiter you have to take that first step forward, and this way you can attract interesting people, opportunities into your life. So here, if you've been wanting to achieve something meaningful in your life, if you've been wanting to create a course for your business, or perhaps if you've been wanting to write a book, or if you've been wanting to plan a trip abroad, but perhaps you've been experiencing some internal blockages, fear, lack of motivation. Saturn retrograde will make you re-examine your hopes and goals. And I live close to the airport, so there is an airplane here, or yes, but here, this is overall about bringing form and shape into any goals, dreams you may have for yourself. So you become more realistic, practical at the same time. If you've been thinking about something recently that you want to do, Saturn retrograde is great for making it happen. So you go back and you think how you can do it, how you can make it achievable and possible, because Jupiter is now in your first house, so you can achieve so much in the next 12 months. But you need to be practical and grounded. And Saturn retrograde, even though Saturn retrograde can slow things down, it will give you some time to think about how you can make your dreams a reality. Now, at the same time, your friendships come into light, and you'll be re-examining some of the important friendships, connections in your life. Social life might be slightly more limited throughout this time. Perhaps you could become more of an introvert in social situations. You might crave smaller gatherings rather than any large group gatherings here. But overall here, this is all about re-examining and even reconnecting with some people in your life, because this could be also the case, reconnecting with people that perhaps you met recently during this transit. And if you think that you met someone who was very interesting, but you didn't have courage, time to reconnect, now during this retrograde, you might want to take this step forward and make this friendship a more solid connection, for example. But here, this is all about this, making your dreams, hopes, wishes a reality. So you bring more form and shape into something that perhaps you've been wanting to achieve, and you think that it is realistic, but perhaps you feared, you experienced a fear, a sense of fear, or a lack of confidence. You might go back into this idea, into this goal, into this dream, and you may think, oh, how can I make it a reality? And Jupiter in the first house is there to bring you hope and optimism and a more expansive vision on life as well. All right, so here we go, Taurus. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Geminis, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces. That will happen in your 10th house. So here, this Saturn retrograde, overall Saturn in the 10th house for Geminis, and this could be your ascendant, moon, or sun. It's not easy. This is when you have to deal with lots of ego issues as well. And overall here with the 10th house activation, this is about working hard, putting lots of effort into seeing some substantial outcomes and results when it comes to that professional growth, worldly achievements as well. Saturn retrograde is about re-examining your career, your professional life, or even if you're a student, then you're looking at your university achievements, and things are probably not that easy. You have to put a lot of effort. There could have been some struggles. Saturn squares your ascendant, sun or moon, whatever you're watching it for, or whatever planets you have in your first house. And there could have been some power struggles, issues as well that emerged in the last few months. Saturn retrograde gives you this chance for bringing more form and shape into any goals, professional goals, than you may have initiated in the last few months. This is also about overall creating more concrete plans. So here, this is about that foundation. So you've been working in the last few months, you've been working, whether this was, your assignments at your university, whether this was your work. With Saturn retrograde, you go back in time and you bring more structure, more form into whatever that you've created in the last few months. This is about that self-discipline. You might question anything that you do connected to your work in the next few months. But you have to be true to yourself. Now, there could be some setbacks at your work. It's not a good time for making any drastic changes, because you will likely regret these decisions. If you suddenly decide you want to quit your job or your university, then make sure you have a plan before you do it. Don't just quit without having a backup plan. Because with Saturn, this isn't about taking shortcuts, because it will be difficult to deal with the consequences, because of course Saturn is the lord of karma, and whatever that we do, there is a payback. So if you struggle with this retrograde, then if you can work things out, sit down, take some time to re-examine your situation, and if you can work things through, then you will be rewarded accordingly. However, if you give up and quit, then you might actually struggle quite substantially. So overall, this retrograde is about developing that strong self-discipline within oneself when it comes to any commitments you may have at your work, career, university as well. Right, so here, overall, this is about re-examining your work, career situation. If you recently decided you want to quit your job, then during this retrograde, you will be making plans concerning the future of your professional life. All right, so here we go, Geminis. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Cancers, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And this retrograde will be in your 9th house. So the 9th house deals with anything connected to foreign matters, foreign people, foreign travel as well, our life direction, our belief system as well. So during this retrograde, you might question your life principles, your life philosophy as well. So generally during this time, many Cancer rising might go through a major spiritual journey, spiritual awakening, that strong need towards that deeper understanding of the self, but in a very expansive sense. So this retrograde might prompt you to do a lot of research connected to spiritual growth, your life mission, your life direction as well. You might read lots of books, watch videos, whatever it is that could help you to truly understand your purpose. You might also develop this strong need for learning, for studying, for accumulating knowledge, because perhaps you might feel like you lack knowledge in a certain area of life, or perhaps someone might make you feel like you don't know enough, and this retrograde will prompt you to do some major research regarding a certain topic, or perhaps you might have this strong need to learn a language if you've been always wanted to learn, and perhaps a trip that you take abroad will act as a strong realization, prompting you to finally commit to this idea, commit to this project. So overall, this is about that greater maturity, a deeper understanding when it comes to your belief system, your life principles, your life mission, especially if you feel confused and out of touch with yourself or with oneself. And here this retrograde could really help you to develop this deep understanding of your life direction, of your life mission. And once this retrograde is over, you might take a very different direction. It could be like a complete turn of direction for you as well. Now, overall, this could be also about traveling to destinations that you've visited in the past. And this could be about perhaps returning to an organization that you worked for in the past as well, an international organization. Now, anything to do with any legal documents, passport applications. If you apply for a passport renewal, for example, or citizenship during this retrograde, you might experience delays. So just be prepared for that, because Saturn on its own is already connected to delays, things taking longer to take off. But the retrograde phase of Saturn and any planet usually brings even bigger delays. But overall, here with Saturn retrograde, it could be also about returning into some projects, perhaps reapplying. You might be reapplying for a passport, or perhaps if you've applied already before this retrograde and things were lost or you never heard back, then this retrograde might bring this topic, this matter, back into life. This could be also the case. All right, so here we go, Cancers. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Leos, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces, happening on the 17th, 18th of June in your 8th house. So the 8th house deals with deep feelings, emotions, deeply rooted feelings, emotions, I should say, intimate matters, money that comes through different sources than our regular income. So here Saturn in Pisces is all about bringing structure, form and shape to something that was overly chaotic, for example. But overall here with Saturn, yes, this is about reviewing, reassessing, re-examining. Here with the retrograde phase of Saturn, you'll be re-examining some important connections with your life, but also this is about this is a time with the retrograde when some of your deeply rooted feelings, emotions, memories could suddenly become activated. And you might start to remember things that happened in the past, perhaps things of a rather transformative, not always pleasant nature. And here Saturn retrograde gives you this great opportunity for moving away from these disturbing feelings and emotions that keep coming back every now and then. So you have a chance to liberate yourself from these and transform them into valuable lessons, or perhaps this is about closing these important chapters in your life. And because you will, when things come back to us, things that happened a long time ago, we see them from a very different light, very different perspective. And Saturn retrograde can help you to generally break away from these emotions, feelings, cycles as well. This could be also a time when you can develop a strong self-discipline when it comes to moving away from some unhealthy habits, routines as well. Now, this is also when you will think about the boundaries in your life. And if you feel like you don't have a strong abilities to set clear boundaries with others, then Saturn retrograde will also help you to come up with some new ideas. And this could be also about some strong realizations that could eventually also help you to establish stronger boundaries with these strong unions or deep unions, connections you may have with other people. Now, Saturn retrograde might slow things down when it comes to any commissions or bonuses or any investments. It's not really a good time for investing your money throughout this retrograde. Of course, if you have to, you have to, but it's not a good time for making any rushed decisions, impulsive decisions even. Now, I said that Saturn retrograde would be good for breaking away from these addictions and smoking habits, for example, especially if you've thinking about doing so, or if you tried in the last few months and perhaps you didn't develop that strong self-discipline, you might be able to do that during this retrograde phase, especially since Pluto is now in your 6th house in Capricorn, and you might have this strong need to transform your health habits, for example, your daily routine, daily life. And with Saturn retrograde, this could be a really good time for bringing that form and shape to any ideas that you may have had before this retrograde began, especially connected to that, to any, on one hand, to those deeply rooted feelings, emotions that perhaps they keep coming back, and now you have a chance to just break away from them and close these chapters in your life. But this could be also about changing your eating habits, quitting smoking, reducing your alcohol consumption, for example. All right, so here you might also receive some commissions, bonuses, money that perhaps you earned in the past and you've been waiting for it. It might finally return. It's all about things that occurred in the past. On one hand, you bring more form and shape into these goals, ideas, projects. On the other hand, things that perhaps were delayed, they might finally come back, become alive during this retrograde. Right, so here we go, Leos. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Virgos, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So here Saturn has been in your 7th house for quite a few months now, and you may have experienced some, well, on one hand, relationship setbacks, especially if you are in a relationship that has already been slightly on a rocky side. Then this Saturn transit in Pisces could have brought some important conversations, realizations. On the other hand, this could have been about some struggles or setbacks experienced in your partner's life, by your partner, for example, because the 7th house is the house that also is connected to our partners and things that happen in their lives. Now, here Saturn retrograde is, on one hand, will make you re-examine your marriage, your relationship, your attitude towards love. But this is also about learning to set clear boundaries with others. So you will be re-examining your ability to set clear boundaries with other people, one-to-ones. Because with the 7th house Pisces, it might be difficult to know when to have these boundaries set in place, especially in the initial phase of life. I spoke to many Virgos over the last few years and during my chart readings, and it's something that perhaps comes with experience after a few initial setbacks when you realize that you need to know when to set these boundaries, especially when you meet people for the first time, when you establish new relationships as well. So Saturn retrograde is all about re-examining your ability to set clear boundaries with others. This is also about taking a deeper look at your relationship. If you've been wanting to separate with your partner, this retrograde, but perhaps, you still kind of want to give them another chance, this retrograde would be great for facing the issues that you've been experiencing and perhaps finding ways that could help you to move away from these unhealthy relationship issues that perhaps were dominating in the last few weeks, months, or even years. So here this could be also about couples therapy, for example, couples counseling. Now on a different level, on the other hand, with Saturn retrograde, if you are single, you'll be perhaps some issues from the past might also come back into the surface, some memories. But here with memories, feelings even coming back from the past, and this could be through conversations with others, through your dreams, through perhaps some circumstances, whatever it is, you will have a chance to take a deeper look at these deeply rooted feelings, emotions, whatever it is. and you will have a chance to move away from them. You will see them from a very different light, different perspective. And this could be a very good time to finally put them to rest. So that once Saturn stations retrograde, you can move into a very different phase in your marriage, in your life. Perhaps if you need to heal from a traumatic past relationship, this retrograde will be great for finding ways to help you to heal those past wounds. Alright, so here we go, Virgos. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Libras, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces that starts on June 17-18th in your 6th house. So the 6th house deals with anything connected to our everyday life, everyday duties, responsibilities, work, employment, but also anything to do with health and medical checkup appointments, treatments. Now with Pisces on the 6th house cusp, it is often difficult to be organized in daily life. It takes a few lessons. Now, it depends on other placements in your chart, of course. This is very generalized, but this could be very much the case for many Libras. Now, Saturn came here on the 7th of March to help you to bring more structure into your daily life, to help you to develop that self-discipline and a bit of perfectionism as well. Now here Saturn will be retrograde very soon for a period of over 4 months, and here with Saturn retrograde you will have an opportunity to return into any projects, ideas that you have begun during Saturn's transit in Pisces and give them more form and shape. Pisces is connected to mystical and creative energies, but often it is difficult to set clear boundaries. Saturn is all about boundaries, and Saturn retrograde, during Saturn retrograde things slow down. However, we have a chance to re-examine what we have achieved, initiated, created when Saturn was in a direct motion. So this could be very much connected to returning into projects, connected to your work. Now, this could be about also building this solid foundation to any ideas, goals that you may have initiated in the last few months. Now, with Saturn retrograde also, this could be also about perhaps dealing with something to do with your health, medical checkups, medical appointments, something that perhaps needs your attention, and you might go for a checkup generally, or have an overdue checkup during this retrograde. Now, during this retrograde also, you might have this really strong sense of responsibility, the need to help others. Perhaps this could be connected to your work, co-workers, but overall with Saturn retrograde, it's not a good time for starting anything brand new. It's a good time for dealing with things that have already been initiated in the past, or perhaps in the last few months since Saturn entered this area of life. With Saturn, this is about generally commitment. This is about responsibility, consistency. So during this transit, you have a strong opportunity to build or develop strong work ethics. Whatever that you do in the next 3 years will have a very long-lasting effect upon your life, upon your everyday life. Saturn retrograde here will make things slow down, but only to help you to perhaps set clear boundaries at your work, in your everyday life. Perhaps some of your daily routines, habits need to be restructured. Perhaps you need to finally let go of something you've been wanting to let go, or quit smoking. Now Saturn retrograde will help you to be more disciplined with yourself. If it's about quitting smoking and you are still kind of having a cigarette every now and then, Saturn retrograde will help you to make a concrete plan, or perhaps bring more form and shape to this idea, goal, desire that you may have created during the last few months. Saturn retrograde could also create the need to be more organized in your daily life. There's this need for perfectionism in many ways as well. Now here, if you've been wanting to be more self-disciplined with yourself, with your diet, with your health, then this retrograde will be also great for re-examining your diet, your health, your well-being. And then once Saturn stations direct, you can start to implement these new ideas that you may have had during Saturn's retrograde motion. All right, so here we go, Libras. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Scorpios, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn's retrograde in Pisces, and that's your 5th house. Of course, I'm also Scorpio rising, so it also affects me. Saturn retrograde in the 5th house is all about bringing more structure and boundaries to anything connected to the 5th house matter. So this could be about your parenting style, this could be about your romantic side of life, because here with Pisces on the 5th, often we are overly idealistic about love partners. Saturn here gives us a more sober approach, more practical approach to love. Now here with Saturn retrograde, this could be about perhaps someone from the past coming back into your life, you know, in the romantic sense. This could be also about your need to bring more structure into your parenting life, into your parenting style, into how your household is managed, in how you deal with your children, for example. So you'll be also reviewing that. And Saturn here is all about discipline, structure, consistency, responsibility. Saturn retrograde prompts us to review whatever that we initiated, whatever that we dealt with during the direct phase, so between March and June. And then this is about re-examining about these new realizations, new goals, and ideas that could help you to, that could help us to implement these necessary changes to experience a greater fulfillment in this area of life. So, you know, if this is about your children, perhaps, you know, you need more order, more structure, a better structured routine. You know, Pisces is connected to chaos. And if you feel like things are out of control, then Saturn retrograde will make you re-examine here the situation at your home with your children. Now on a different level, this could be about your business, if you're self-employed, if you have your own business. Overall, Saturn here gives you a more sober approach. Saturn retrograde is great for reviewing the projects that you initiated between March and June, for bringing more structure into that foundation. So perhaps if you have been working on a website, or if you created a website or an online course in the last few months, this retrograde is great for updating this course or website, for reviewing the material, for making sure that it has a very strong and solid foundation. Because when Saturn is then in a direct motion from November the 4th, you can launch this idea, this goal, this project, move forward and see how it grows and see how it benefits your business on a bigger scale. Now here, Saturn retrograde could bring some setbacks when it comes to dating, when it comes to love life. Perhaps you might want to have a break even, you know, from dating. This could be the case as well. But this is definitely about also taking a deeper look at your love life, at your approach to your relationship might change temporarily, or perhaps you might want to concentrate on different aspects of your life, and perhaps romance might not always be on your the most important thing during this retrograde phase, but a really great time for really looking at your skills and talents, for seeing how you can improve your self-esteem, or perhaps that ability to express yourself creatively with confidence. This could be also about healing the inner child. You know, the 5th house is all about that inner child work, and Saturn retrograde could bring some also memories from the past, from childhood, perhaps connected to creativity, or if that creativity was never boosted or encouraged. Perhaps you might want to see how you can fix or heal these wounds. All right, so here we go, Scorpios. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces that will activate your 4th house. So here, Saturn has been in your 4th house since March, and it could have brought lots of different things depending on your circumstances. Here, Saturn in the 4th could be connected to, solitude, spending time alone, contemplating at your home, thinking about your past, thinking about what you've done in the past and how it influences your current life situation. So lots of memories could be also coming back into the surface throughout this transit, especially during the retrograde phase, because during this time you will see them from a very different light, different perspective. And if you've got some memories that have been haunting you for quite some time from the past, from your childhood, then this retrograde and overall this whole transit and the retrogrades that will occur, Saturn retrogrades in Pisces in the next 3 years, will be really great for putting some of these memories to rest. So in a way, this transit is very much connected to healing of the past, believe it or not. But because Saturn here, during these times of withdrawal, which you might experience or have a need to do, these memories, or from the past could be coming up, and it would be a good time for understanding how they influence your current life scenario, but at the same time, maybe it's time to let go. Maybe it's time to transform them into something positive, transform them into learning experiences. So this might not happen initially, in this initial phase of retrograde, but overall the retrograde of Saturn in Pisces in your 4th house, they could bring out this kind of themes. At the same time, this could be about returning to some project renovations that you've been wanting to do for quite some time. So renovations. Now here, if you've been kind of neglecting some aspects of your home, if things had to be fixed but you never attended to them, now during this retrograde you might get some signals, and they could be very much connected to anything to do with water, plumbing, bathrooms, toilet work, or anything to do with pipes. And if you get any signal, make sure that you double check that. Don't ignore these signals that the universe will give you, because this could escalate to something major. So this could be also the case here, dealing with pump work, pump or pipe, plumbing, anything to do with water, basically, at your home. Now, on a different level here, this could be also connected to a fridge or some, kitchen appliances that perhaps were kind of working, sometimes not. So now during this retrograde, attend to these matters if you see that things are struggling and not working while you still can. Now, this is also about perhaps if you've been feeling disconnected from some family members, this would be also a good time for returning back in touch, perhaps fixing some of these relationships as well. Now here with Saturn retrograde, since Saturn is about retrograde, all about that re-examination of the area of life activated by this retrograde, you might be also re-evaluating your living conditions, your home situation, and if something isn't satisfying you, if something is bothering you, then you will act once this retrograde is over. Alright, so here we go, Sagittarius. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Capricorns, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So here, this is a big deal for you because Saturn is your ruler. Saturn retrograde will be here in your 3rd house. Overall, Saturn in the 3rd on its own, within a direct motion, can bring some setbacks, some strong realizations concerning your communication style, your intellect, your knowledge, for example, about certain ideas, topics. Now, Saturn here in the 3rd house could also make you feel like you're losing your connection with your siblings, your relatives, at least temporarily. It doesn't have to be your fault, but perhaps, they are going through some life-changing events of some sort. Now, here, when Saturn is retrograde, the energies slow down, and we have an opportunity to look at our life, or the themes of life connected to this transit, from a very different perspective. So in a way, Saturn retrograde can be an introspective time. You might want to keep some things to yourself, some thoughts to yourself. It might be more difficult to express your thoughts, your ideas. Perhaps you'll be more cautious when communicating. However, this is also a great opportunity for taking a deeper look at your communication style. Perhaps for some Capricorn rising, there is a strong need for improving their verbal communication or written communication skills. Perhaps you want to refresh some of your skills. Perhaps you have a need to learn, to gain that greater confidence when it comes to your intellect, when it comes to that self-expression as well. Now, overall here, Saturn retrograde might also be about returning back in touch with your siblings, your relatives. If you've experienced some difficulties when connecting with them during the retrograde phase, you might be able to discuss things that perhaps were kind of hidden away or under the surface, and now during the retrograde phase it might come back, and this will be an opportunity for resolving any dilemmas, issues there might have been. At the same time, this could be also about you wanting to return to some places that you visited. Now, on the other hand, this is about also generally Saturn in the third is all about that structure when it comes to communication, when it comes to learning, when it comes to your knowledge concerning a specific topic, idea. Saturn retrograde helps you to refresh that knowledge, go back in time, see what needs to be perhaps modified, updated when it comes even to your website, to some of your skills. And this is about building that solid foundation. So here, on one hand, for some Capricorns, it's going to be very much connected to some written or verbal projects, presentations, about refreshing their skills, about perhaps going back and into learning, into some creative projects even, because that's what Piscean energy is about in your third house. Perhaps you're returning back into writing, or if you've written a book or a poem, you might want to update it, proofread it, edit it during this transit. Now, on a different level here, yes, you might be traveling, but perhaps to places you visited in the past. Anything brand new and fresh will require more energy, more effort. Right, so here we go, Capricorns. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So here, that's your second house. So overall, you've had Neptune here for quite some time, and with Pisces on the second house cusp, it's often difficult to build that solid financial foundation or stability and security. Usually with the Piscean energy and also Neptune's influence, money is kind of floating around, coming in and out, but nothing is concrete, or it's difficult to build that concrete base, solid foundation. Here obviously depends on your personal placements, but that's here the general interpretation of Neptune and Pisces dominating the second house. Now here Saturn came here on the 7th of March, helping you to bring more structure into this area of life, helping you to be financially sufficient, independent as well. So here Saturn retrograde is so yes, in a way Saturn here for you is a blessing, I think, because Saturn in Pisces overall is about bringing structure to chaos. Saturn in the second house in Pisces is about bringing structure to the financial area, helping you to build that wealth, a solid foundation, and be financially independent in many ways. So here Saturn will be retrograde. So during this time you will have a chance to look back and see what you've achieved so far this year. What changes occurred in your financial area? What opportunities arrived? Perhaps you initiated something new, started a new business. During the retrograde phase, you have a chance to re-examine, review, reassess the goals, the projects that you initiated between March and June. So this is about generally here, because whatever we initiate, it's I think this retrograde is actually happening at a fantastic time, because we've just had this transit, and for many Aquarius rising, there were financial changes going on, and now with the retrograde phase, you have a chance to just pause and look back, improve what happened in the last few months, what you've started, what you've initiated. So you build this solid foundation for the projects that started since Saturn entered Pisces, your second house. Re-examine, reassess, see what needs to be fixed, see what needs to be modified and updated. Here with Saturn in your second house, you have this opportunity for improving your financial skills in many ways. So financial management skills, so to speak. And there will be lots of lessons, to learn and overcome. But overall, with Saturn in the second house, if you commit to these goals, and if you work constructively, effectively, and if you take the retrograde periods of Saturn in your second house to fix whatever needs to be fixed, to improve yourself in many ways that could benefit financial growth, financial stability moving forward, then you can really achieve a lot by the time Saturn leaves this area of life. So here, the retrogrades are great for reviewing, re-examining, reassessing. And then once the retrograde is over on November the 3rd, the 4th, you will be able to implement the ideas that you had throughout the retrogrades. Now, on a different level here, since the second house also deals with our self-worth, personal values, self-esteem, if there is something or someone in your life that acts as a blockage towards personal growth, that basically lowers your self-esteem, then during this retrograde, you might have some really strong realizations about that, about yourself. And hopefully, once this retrograde is over, you will be able to make constructive decisions and implement necessary changes. So here we go, Aquarius, thank you very much. And let's move into the next sign. Hello Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for the upcoming Saturn retrograde in Pisces in your first house. So this is a brand new retrograde in your sign, in your first house. And here Saturn has been staying in your sign since March the 7th. And during this time, since March and June, you might have experienced it was like a wake-up call for many Pisces, especially since you've had Neptune transiting your sign for so many years. Pisces on its own is connected to that mystical, creative, idealistic energy that also often lacks boundaries, and Neptune here, very similar energy. So I think Saturn is for many Pisces rising a blessing. This is when you can finally bring structure to your life, and this is about having this sober approach and practical approach towards your goals. Things generally you have a more realistic approach towards life as well. So here Saturn gives you that grounding energy. And yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with with a lady called Maria. So Maria, I'm sending my regards to you, and it was great to hear about the experience of someone with this rising sign, and how much how amazing this transit has been, and helping to make concrete plans and gain a better clarity about the self, about the future as well. So here with Pisces and Neptune in your first house, it's difficult to be grounded, especially if you don't have any earth in your chart, for example, if you have a lot of water placements, and or even air. So Saturn gives you that grounding, earthy energy, and this is about bringing structure and form and shape to something that wasn't real, to something that was a dream. And this is about having this realistic approach to life, as I mentioned earlier. But overall, Saturn retrograde gives you an opportunity to look back and see what happened in the last few months since March, what you've achieved so far, what things you initiated, what you started. This is about looking at the foundation of these goals, projects, ideas. This is about generally bringing more structure, because if whatever you initiated here with this transit is great, but take this retrograde for working, for fixing or modifying, updating, whatever that you already created, or what has been created for you, you know, whatever it is. This is about bringing form and shape and a very solid foundation and structure, or a solid base to these goals, projects, career goals, relationships, whatever it is here. And when Saturn stations direct on November the 3rd, you will be able to move forward, implement any new ideas that you may have had throughout the retrograde phase, but also you can move forward and make progress, good progress in your life, because you will know that whatever you had created during Saturn's in a direct motion was fixed, updated, modified. So you'll have this strong idea of what you want and where is it that you stand. So this retrograde acts as an opportunity for you to gain a deep and clear understanding of where is it that you're heading with your life, of what is it that you want to do moving forward based on what has happened since Saturn entered this area of life. So here you have a chance to generally bring structure to your goals, more form and shape, and make your plans, hopes, wishes achievable, realistic as well. Now, this is also about, in the next 2 years, you will still learn a lot about yourself, because there could have been that cloudiness, there could have been that fogginess, confusion. For many years, Saturn in the first house gives you a better clarity about yourself, about your identity. So you will be reshaping your identity, or at least many Pisces rising will be. And you're starting a new phase. This is about that increased sense of maturity, responsibility, increased maturity that comes with this transit as well. All right, so here we go, Pisces. Thank you very much, and until the next time. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have a good